Well, today we are taking another look at the 2017 Toyota Highlander because Toyota freshened things up this year, and we previously really liked this generation of the Highlander, but it's been a few years, and we wanted to take another look at the changes, and those changes start under the hood, and they've tweaked the 3.5 liter pretty thoroughly, now making 295 horsepower, and mated that to an 8-speed automatic where previously the 6-speed automatic served. And that combination is good for 20 miles per gallon in the city, 26 miles per gallon on the highway with the all-wheel drive system like we're sampling here. So not terrible numbers, especially considering you can haul around 7 and or 8 passengers depending on whether or not you get the second row captain's chairs or the bench seat there. So, it is a good people mover, and when properly equipped, it has a 5,000-pound tow rating, which is pretty generous for the mid-size crossover class as well. And it'll certainly pull a small camper and a small family around for vacation all summer. So plenty of utility built in there as well. Now, they've did a nice job, we thought, with this Highlander redesign and doing a little bit more masculine touches here, which I think gives it a very modern and muscular look. The front end has some kind of aluminum look accents to the grille, which is now a little more angular and imposing. And then with the flared fenders that the Highlander previously had and a nice set of 18-inch wheels, the car looks and sits really well. So we like what they've done outside. The Highlander continues to have very thoughtfully laid out interior, so ergonomically sound with easy to use controls where you'd expect them. The climate controls in particular are very easy to use and see. The infotainment system is touchscreen with a large screen. We like that, and also blessed with a physical knob for the volume and the tuning controls, which is our preferred setup, and just good storage options throughout the car as well. This center console opens up. It's very deep, very large. You could store a person there out of sight if you'd like. Toyota also has this shelf that kind of runs the width of the dash, and you can run a USB cable down through to the charging ports, so it makes it an easy spot to plug in and drop your phone off. Maybe you want to throw your wallet in there or some keys, whatever it might be. Nice, useful space, whereas in other vehicles that space is not utilized and not offered, so we like that setup here. Overall materials, especially in this mid-level XLE tester, are solid. We have some kind of fake stitching on the dash and some wrapping on the doors. Now, there are just a few instances of some hard plastics that still kind of sneak up on the lower part of the door and also around the door pulls. That area I feel like could be moved a little bit more premium. But overall, it's a good looking interior. Even in this dark color, there are some kind of dark chocolate brown accents to give it a little bit of flair. And like I said, solidly laid out, gear shifter right where it needs to be, and great big cup holders here for the front passengers. Now, Toyota has included 5 USB ports around the vehicle to keep all those devices charged, and they even have video game video and audio plugins here for tying into the 9-inch Blu-ray DVD rear entertainment system, so that will surely keep the kids entertained on vacation. And if they get a little out of control, you can use the little school bus style mirror to keep an eye on what's happening in your second and third row there. So thoughtful feature for the parents among us. And I would say really our biggest complaint on the way Toyota does things here throughout the dash is they have a tendency to just black out the buttons that you didn't pay for. In other words, if you didn't get every single option and feature where that control would be, they just remind you of that by putting a black plastic filler panel in there. And so over here left of the steering wheel, I have a constant reminder that there are at least 4 buttons I don't get to use. So kind of annoying the way they do that. It looks pretty cheap, and other automakers have done a better job of integrating their features. So like I said, dynamically, a good ride and a quiet cabin, which are, you know, very high on a typical family's wish list. Visibility is solid, good side mirrors, and we just, you know, you have to make sure this fits your family's needs. Because we have the second row captain's chairs, which are very generous leg room, and they recline, they're comfortable. There's a nice little flip-up table in the middle with some cup holders, so very useful second row. And again, it's available with a bench seat if you do need 3 across seating. But just be mindful, the third row is very tight on headroom especially, and legroom. If your second row passengers are not feeling very generous and not willing to slide their captain's chairs forward to create some legroom in the third row, it's definitely for the 10 and under crowd. But if that works for your family, then the Highlander will work just fine for your needs. The accessing the third row, Toyota has put a pretty smart system in place here. The second row captain's chairs, they tilt up and they slide forward, and that creates a pretty nice, usable little walkway right into the third row. So you don't have to come to the middle of the car and then shimmy between the captain's chairs. So a really nicely designed system for that. And of course, the second row and third row all fold flat very easily, creating a good load space. But just be mindful that with the seats up, you only have 13.8 cubic feet of storage space behind that third row. So that is, you know, even less than a lot of mid-size and, you know, even compact-size sedan trunks. So not a ton of storage space if you can't afford to fold that third row down. So be mindful of that feature, or that kind of limiting design factor as well. The Highlander, otherwise though, very nicely sized to drive and maneuver. Parking lot maneuvering is not a problem in this vehicle. And overall, for about $43,000 as our tester sits, it's certainly a modern and comfortable family cruiser, and I think Toyota will continue to sell these as fast as they can make them.